What is going on? I'm zmoT, and today we are going to jump into Season 79 of Warships at some point. First, we got to do that code zmoT, blah, blah, blah. Already in there, don't need to worry about that. Doing some operation things, but that's not the focus for today. I went back and did the non-standard path. Everyone and their dog is saying, fight your way to boom cannons, fizzle your way up some ranks, and then go back and get melons, and then go back and get flares, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, tanks without flares, they go attack flamethrowers when there's a sniper tower closer, they don't go where you want, and it's just frustrating, and you end up with like times of like 148 or something like that. So with bombardiers, your times suddenly get better, and it's like a weight off your shoulders. So, Season 79, if you don't have melons yet, I would highly recommend going and getting them. And I know I'm behind because I did a non-standard path, but getting melons got me into 12, and then I think flare got me into 13 and 14, which got me cannons. And next I'll get boom cannons here in a second, which will hopefully get me up into the gold neighborhood. But I just wanted to point that out. And I am going up against bases that have boom cannons and rocket launchers and shock mines, and occasionally winning. Occasionally, I say, because the last few hours have not been super good. Before that, I was doing well, almost hit 15, and then fell back to earth, so I stopped playing. But you can see here, like against Alan, Steve, using two boats of, and by the way, this is the important part right here. Don't forget to flare that mortar. I was just dropping troops and forgetting to flare the mortar, which means your troops move up into the range of that mortar. If you flare it, they don't. So keeping them down low, just two boats to start, and then while that flare is active, drop your other boat. That building goes down, and then they stay low and target the flamethrower. So no real concerns here. And then you'll notice that I'm using two boats of rifles with two boats of tanks. And that is important because otherwise boom cannons absolutely wreck your life. And then you'll see here in a second, like what do we got there? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats out. Out come some bombardiers. And finally, that you need to wait a little bit. Otherwise, your rifles don't go towards these two buildings over here, which means they leave all of these mines up, which ruin your life. So we've got bombardiers throwing over the gaps. We've got med kits because of all these mines that are in stupid spots, which I did get up a tick or two. And then our rifles come in, and our rifles start dying, but then our tanks take the hits, and then we've got more rifles coming late. So it definitely depends on your timing. This season is a lot about timing, but you'll notice we've got one going right. We've got all of these guys going up. One of them turns down bottom, so we've got all good things happening here. We've got 2 engine rooms being hit at once, 3 maybe a little bit, and then as soon as those go, we can throw a flare and lose some rifles and chuck, and we have beaten a player who has boom cannons. I've also beaten players who have rocket launchers, have lost to some 3 engine room players who are incredibly quick. But again, just that flare is so important, and I know that tanks with bombardiers and rifles is probably not ideal, but, and again, notice here, what I'm doing here is I'm clearing a little bit here, and then waiting for those rifles to get to that flag, and then as they start to get towards that flag, I think I'm gonna flare. No, I didn't. Okay, I totally didn't do what I thought I was gonna do. So, again, rifles ahead of bombardiers is so vital. Otherwise, you just lose all of the things and bad things happen. So getting those rifles to do all of the things and getting rid of that hot pot, which didn't go super duper swimmingly smoothly, but we're still making progress, and these are the kind of mistakes that sometimes happen. Boom cannons will make these mistakes less of an issue because people are going to start fizzling. There are some great bases out there. But wanted to show you some of my mistakes and some of my lucky things and some of my little learnings. It's amazing how stupid, like just not flaring that shore building. It took me longer than I would care to admit to figure that out, but we're there now. And then these rifles dropped at the perfect time, so they clear all sorts of those mines, and then we bring some bombardiers in behind, and like I said, it's not pretty. I'm not using flares as much as I probably could be. A couple times I flared like the engine room over here and then use that active flare to drop troops on the right, but oftentimes I make mistakes as well. So you can get into 14 with all of the mistakes that I have made, and watch we as those right hand side just get absolutely barbecued, and then I flare away way too early, and then I gotta come back, but we still picked up the win. So this base is quite a good one. I have moved some mines. I've got some green mines back there, and a green mine there, and a shock mine there, because I got beat by level or 3 engine room players who just flared engine room to engine room counterclockwise with brick and warriors and smoke, and then they just artilleried out this engine room. And I've had one of you who said, you could just pass by all those defenses with smoke, not realizing that I don't have smoke or flare at that point. So yes, if I had Seekers, I could take down this base easily, and if I had heavy choppas, it would be no problem as well. But we don't have any of those things in this current tech tree. By the way, I did go with troop health. Troop health keeps my bombardiers alive, and mines right now are a big problem, so I probably will change that at some point in the future. But for right now, it's troop health. And I know a bunch of you have gotten building health down here, which does help against artillery players. But my next step is going to be forwards, which is going to be boom cannons. And then I assume rocket launchers, which I don't have a lot of tokens for. And I'm spending a lot of GBE on medkits and cheap medkits. Going to take those up to tick 3. Tick 2 is better. I don't want to waste too many tokens, but there are a lot of tokens in the tree this season, so what the heck, let's get going. Anyways, we are going to get boom cannons, and then I will get rank 15. I probably do that without you, though, because we just don't have the time for all the things. This person has 2 shore boom cannons. Can those boom cannons reach our dudes? Probably not, because these mortars can't reach our dudes, so we should be okay, I think. Again, mistakes are made this season, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm going to drop 1, 2, and then as those guys start to come out, I'll drop those guys, and then I'll drop you guys, and they do reach. Of course they reach. So we've lost some rifles, but we've got some other rifles coming up, and then I'm going to throw, where do I want to throw? I don't think I need a tank on that right-hand side, and again, this is where the tanks, the fact that, oh boy, did not notice that. Also, did not keep a bombardier to go left, which is not ideal under any circumstances, but I think we should still be good on that left, because those guys are going to pop the hot pot, the tanks are going to get rid of that boom cannon eventually, and then there we go. So hot pot popping, we're going to throw some med kits over here, that right side is taking care of itself, and now this is not ideal. So this is where maybe I'm going to flare back into here, try to avoid some of that stuff. And I told you there were some botched attacks happening. We definitely need to throw one more flare to try and get those guys past that green mine. And we'll throw a med kit about there. That mortar is going to miss, thankfully. And I think we should be in halfway decent straits. Just bad. Just so bad. But thankfully those tanks and those med kits that we upgraded are gonna, like, that med kit would not have saved our troops if it was tick 2, but tick 3 definitely made a bit of a difference. So, and I've done the thing where I flare back to the shore and around the right and up to the top to get the final engine room, because I just don't have enough troops to get away from boom cannons and things. The fact that my final engine room hasn't been touched yet, though, those generally tend to be people who have fizzled, so we have nothing to spend GBE on except for medkits right now, so we'll get those going, and I'm just going to hope that some of these melons do clear a couple of those mines, and we got one measly mine cleared. Uh-oh, we need to go. We need to just go. This person is starting to touch up my engine room, so we need to get our final medkit right about there. And then just hope that we don't lose our dudes to all of the stuff. Come on, guys, let's go. Maybe I should have kamikazed slightly earlier, but even with this terrible attack, we still have a chance of winning. The slimmest of chance. The slimmest of slim chances. What do we do, Crust? That would be a drum roll. Oh, we won. And that's where the base, just doing good work. 15 stars. And that's why I think with boom cannons, 15 should be fairly straightforward. There are some fantastic bases out there. I'll show you one in a second. Man, that was a bad attack, though. And that's where just 1, 2, spread them out a little bit, and then we'll get you guys coming in from the side. We'll get you there, and that should get us started, like just started. And one of the problems that I have is that I end up dropping way too many troops, and I don't do a great job of I end up forgetting to have a bombardier for that left-hand side, and now we can get that tank going up the left-hand side. And the tank going up first is fairly important because of all those extra mines and that hot pot. And then we're just going to send the rest of our reinforcements with a med kit on some of these things. And hopefully, I didn't. Our tank was a bit late. That's why that bombardier is going to be deadness. But hopefully, there we go. See how our med kit and our rifles all start to spread out, and down goes the hot pot, and then we just need someone to turn left, and no one has turned left. So I definitely need to put some effort and thought into where I can flare to make these attacks better. But we're beating boom cannon bases, and I've heard from a couple people that said you can't win with melons unless you have brick, and I think that we're showing that that's not the case. Yes, it's not frequent, but we are still beating boom cannon bases without brick. And that's a big deal in my mind. We still have to deal with this boom cannon back here and all of these mines back here, but I think that we should be able to get our troops in a general good area where I can medkit around most of that stuff. So we're going to come over into here, not rushing at all because that engine room has not been touched quite yet. And then we'll flare into about there. Definitely need to get rid of that boom cannon to have any chance of this because we just don't have enough damage. And then these guys down here are going to need that medkit in a big way. And we have not fizzled, and my time is slightly better even though that attack was just horrendous. So 152 against Caddick Mac. What did you do, Mr. Caddick Matt? And we won by 4 seconds. So 2 ugly wins, which have unlocked a giant tool in our quiver. So we are going to get those things up to tick 4. You know what? Let's go to tick 5. What the heck? And the base that I've heard the most rumblings about is Mr. Capo. Where are you, Capo? Did you go way up or did you leave the task force? There you go. Capo in 17 now. 49.3% win rate says that is a rough sled. 345 battles. Where am I at? I don't think I'm that high. 207 already. Wow. Okay, so I'm 860 and 31 in Canada. Definitely some work to be done. I didn't even show you Capo's base though, but shout out to Mr. Capo for making it into 17 like a boss. And there is the base you want to use. He said that many people are fizzling, many people are having a difficulty. So do go copy this base, take a screenshot. That's what I'm going to be doing. And to be honest, the bases, when I'm looking for bases, I see people with like 61% win rate, 62% win rate, and I think this person's doing pretty good. Whereas I see a 49%, or this one right here, and I know that they are on the struggle bus, so they have put a lot of effort into their bases. People with good win rates probably have had flares or have some other tech. Maybe that's not a fair comparison, but the fact that Capo is in 17 with that low win rate means he has done some base shopping. He has made some changes. He has struggled. So that's the kind of base I'm looking for. Anyways, hopefully this has helped you in some way. Because like I said, boom cannons are a ton of keys to get to, and you don't want to be fizzling with tanks. Just fizzling and having super slow times with tanks are super frustrating, and with without instant training, it's tough. At least now I'm spreading my losses across 3 different troops, which helps with instant training a little bit. And on top of that, melons are super fun and bouncy. So I will leave you with that. Hopefully this has helped you. Season 79. I am zmoT. Thank you for coming in, liking, sharing, subscribing, code zmoTing, but most importantly, commenting. Love the comments. They really, really help me get through the day and through some tough times and all the rest of it. So I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.